Greetings, the Hijabi Gamer here, and first, I need to start this video with a spoiler warning, because if you haven't played Warframe's The New War and don't want it spoiled, stop now. Because there will be spoilers for that first section, the For My Brother section. Now, I haven't played it yet. I can't wait to play it, but I've already watched the campaign several times, and I liked it. So, spoiling something for me does not mean I won't play it. I just am impatient. But you've been warned. Also, I'm pretty sure this video is going to piss off a lot of Warframe players, because I know a lot of them really like Alad V. I don't know why. If you've watched my live streams, hate him. Really hate him. Which is interesting, because I love the Corpus. You know, I've been a huge fan of the Corpus. And this isn't something new, so no one can be like, oh, you just like the Corpus because of the new war. No, I've been playing Warframe since 2016, 2017, and I don't have a single battle on the side of the Grineer. I've always supported the Corpus. I've always thought the Corpus was awesome. They have space lasers, and they're cool. So this isn't something new, and yet I also really hate Alad V. I'm going to be making a video really going in depth on why, because honestly, Alad V has actually, had me re-examine and re-evaluate what I thought I knew about the Origin system and about the Corpus and the Grineer. And it's made me realize he's really a scummy character. So in the meantime, though, I'm going to make a video pissing all over him on how he didn't survive the new war, because being mean to Alad V gives me joy. So much joy. But first, I need to touch on Viso-R, because Viso's fate is tied to Alad V's. Do I think Viso survived the new war? No, I don't. And honestly, I don't want him to have survived it. I feel like if he's found floating in space unconscious, it takes away from the weight of the chapter For My Brothers, it showed us how this war not only affected the Tenno, but affected everyone in the system. Normally we only see things from the perspective of the Tenno, but this was an event that affected everyone, and they struggled and sacrificed in this war, probably more than we did. So to see that was really enlightening, and just interesting. It makes you re-examine how you look at the Corpus and the Grineer. Now, Call 175 could be alive out there, and it isn't as big a deal to me as Viso. Call's story is incomplete. He was willing to sacrifice himself to save his brothers, and he failed. Era stopped him. So he could be veiled out there, we don't know. But I wouldn't be as troubled if he is. Viso is different. Viso's actions saved hundreds. If he hadn't re-engaged fire control to the entire fleet, all of those massive Corpus pillar ships would be sitting ducks. The Sentients would have easily been able to pick them off. Any Corpus ships that managed to fight their way out of that battle when things went south, every single Corpus on those ships, which is probably hundreds, owes their life to Viso-R. He lost his life but saved hundreds in the process. And I think there's no coming back from that. And it really does take away from the weight of what happened and the sacrifice he ended up making if he's just found floating in space. There's no loss then. It's just like, oh yeah, Viso, we found him. He was floating unconscious in space. He's perfectly fine. Whereas, a character that everyone really likes is killed, saving lives. Just, it adds so much to it. In addition, it shows him as a contrast to Alad V. Alad V, who is willing to leave those Corpus and sacrifice them to the Sentients to save his own neck. Viso sacrificed his own neck to save them, whereas Alad V was willing to sacrifice all of those Corpus, hand them over to the Sentients to save himself. So there's a massive contrast between the two of them. Now, I'm sure Alad V did not survive the new war, and I really don't want him to have either, but not for the same noble reasons as Viso-R. I just don't I think Alad V is a horrible character. Like I said, I will go into further detail why I really, really hate him. But there's a lot about Alad V that you can't really see easily in game. But just the fact that, like I said, he was willing to leave all those Corpus ships, vulnerable to the Sentients and to hand over hundreds of Corpus to save his own neck. that isn't even for profit. That's just a kind of despicable behavior that now, me and my live stream, we went over and tried to figure out, was there any way for Alad V to have gotten out of this battle alive? I showed the clip of the ship exploding, and everyone who saw it said, there's no way anybody walked away from that explosion. One idea I did have was that maybe Alad V was on a different ship, but if you listen to the conversation between him and Viso, which I went over like 2 or 3 times, it's pretty clear Viso and Alad V are on the same ship. That's why I said their fate are tied. Also, it's pretty clear the ship that does explode is the one that's docked, is the one that Alad V and Viso are on. You can see Viso at one point in front of that control panel, and you look up and there's a massive ship looming over him. And Alad V mentions that they're docking with the Sentients. So that's the one ship you see docking with the Murex, and that's the one that explodes. So they're both on that same ship that does explode at the end. Now, people have said he could have been wearing an exosuit, or he could have had an escape shuttle waiting for him. But there really isn't. First off, we never see Alad V in a spacesuit, which is interesting because even the board members, the Corpus board, are wearing spacesuits. Why are the Corpus board wearing spacesuits? But yeah, Frode Beck, you could tell he's obviously wearing a spacesuit. Darvo isn't, but Frode Beck is. So these Corpus board are all wearing spacesuits. Alad V is never seen wearing a spacesuit. And he has no reason to be concerned. If you listen to the conversation again between him and Viso changes his mind suddenly. It's in the middle of Alad V boasting about how he's, negotiated a peaceful and profitable, and all of a sudden Viso re-engages fire control. He has no way of expecting it. He has no reason to expect it. So he really doesn't have any reason to be wearing an exosuit or be next to an escape shuttle. But let's say he was wearing an exosuit. Let's say this is one of those rare occasions where Alad V is actually wearing a spacesuit, because it seems to be what Corpus do. My guess is they have terrible sense of fashion, so it's just easier for everyone to wear spacesuits. But so let's just say, I mean, come on, look at Alad V. His fashion sense is sad. So let's say he just happens to be wearing an exosuit at that moment. There's no way it's surviving that explosion. If he's on that ship when that thing goes, it's been atomized. He's in pieces. What about an escape shuttle? Again, it would have been too close to the ship to get out of there. The shockwave and the explosion from that ship would have blown anything around it to atoms. That ship was torn apart. Nothing made it off that ship alive. And yeah, I've shown it to multiple people who don't even play Warframe, and they all went, there is no way anybody got off that ship alive. So even Viso, you're not going to find him floating in space unconscious. He's been atomized. One idea we also had was maybe he got transported off that ship. Now, we haven't really seen Corpus technology where they're transporting from ship to ship. I do remember seeing those really cool transporters that they're using in the Orb Valis, but we've never really seen it in ships. So that would really be a Deus Ex Machina, that, a sudden DE wants to save Alad V, so they suddenly come up with this idea. Or maybe the Sentients transport him off the ship. But I don't see them having a reason to do so, unless they want to punish him, because they're probably pissed off at him at this point. He's probably arranged with them that he will disengage fire control from the fleet. Well, all of a sudden, those Corpus ships that shouldn't be shooting at them are shooting at them. It's like, wait a minute, Alad, what did you do? You were supposed to stop them. So maybe they transported him off because they're pissed at him, or maybe he managed to transport to another Corpus ship, which ironically, if that ship escapes that battle, it's because of Viso. So yeah, there's a faint possibility he managed to transport off, but it would be really cheap move on the part of DE. And I don't want him to have survived it. I feel that this Alad V getting taken out this way is perfect poetic justice. Alad V, who has tortured and experimented on and probably led to the death of hundreds of Corpus, being taken out because a low-ranked nobody who's so insignificant to Aladvi, he couldn't even get his name right, defied him in the end. It's poetic justice. Aladvi, who was willing to throw hundreds of corpus to the sentients, hundreds of people who are so insignificant, and to have one of them stand up and defy him at the end would just be perfect. And I love that idea, that it's just this poetic justice of Aladvi being taken out this way. So I feel that this is the best way for Aladvi to go. And I hope he's being teabagged for all eternity by hundreds of corpus whom he needlessly slaughtered or sacrificed to his amalgam experiments. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the whole thing. As I said, I'm pretty sure I'm going to piss off a lot of Warframe people because I mean, there's a lot to Aladvi that makes you realize when you look in depth, he's a really scummy character. And I feel he's like the Dr. Death of the corpus. Anyway, thank you for watching. Comment down below. And I hope to see you in the Origin system.